Hello everyone, and welcome to the Let's Play for Noire. This is just an introductory video to kind of discuss the history of the game and my experience playing it and my thoughts on it before we get started. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I used to do this quite often, so I'm trying to pick it back up. Anyway, regardless of that. Noire was a game that was first released on consoles and the PC in 2011, and it was generally well received. I was really excited about it because I kind of like the noir method of storytelling, and that's how this game's told. And I like the games where you get to solve crimes and solve puzzles and that kind of stuff. So Noire really spoke to me. It's a game that kind of I hate to say it because this comparison is the reason why it caught some issue that of when it first came out. The game is like a Grand Theft Auto game. It was made by Team Bondi, but Rockstar published it, and Rockstar helped them develop it a little bit. So you can very well tell a lot of the Rockstar influences that went into the game when it was made. And it having the Rockstar name on it both helped and hurt it. I'll get to the hurting. I'll get to the hurting a little bit later, but the game actually was kind of, I guess at the time, revolutionary because they created a new technology to use for this game called motion scan, where they would have the actors actually sit down, like all the people who are in the game who play some character in the game as voice acting. They also did the face capture of them delivering their lines. So everyone's faces are really accurate to how the actual people behaved and looked when they were delivering their lines, and of course they also did body capture just like they normally do. It was really kind of like really I guess I don't want to say revolutionary, but it was ahead of its time, I suppose. What happened was the faces ended up looking really good on the player characters, but then where the faces came down to meet like the neck and everything, it looked really bizarre. So it didn't look quite as great as it could have. And this game actually, because of, at least I assume, mostly because of this motion scan stuff they came up with, it was one of the biggest game budgets ever. It cost $50 million to make this game. The game is really fun. Like I said, you play a Detective Cole Phelps who goes and solves a series of murders. Or, not murders specifically. Sorry. Goes and solves crimes. Some of them are murders, and some of them are not. But they are all various types of crimes, and you have to go around, you have to collect clues, and based on the clues, you have to conduct interrogations on witnesses and suspects of the crime. I couldn't think of the word for some reason. I don't know why. And the game just has kind of an open world layout where they really immaculately recreated 1947's Los Angeles. Right after the end of World War II, all the GIs came back home, and it's the larger story is about them trying to pick up and restart their lives. And Cole Phelps is the one we follow specifically. He was a officer. But yeah, so onto the negatives of the game. It is an open world game, and they took all of this time to recreate the city. Like they recreated landmarks, or recreated movie sets. They used crimes in LA in that time period as basis for a lot of their missions. But for all of the detail and the thought that went into recreating the city, there's nothing to do in it. Outside of exploring it and finding some collectibles, and including cars, you can find all of the different kinds of models of cars that were out in time. Outside of that, and finding like landmarks within the city, there's nothing to do. And that's where the being tied to Rockstar became a negative for them, because at that time period, people were accustomed to the Grand Theft Auto games that were coming out by Rockstar. And most notably in my mind, the game San Andreas, where you could go around and buy businesses around the city, you could date women, you could go go to several establishments and use the establishments. I'm not going to get into specifics on that. You could control every aspect of yourself, your hair, your clothes, if your guy was muscular or fat or skinny, or all kinds of stuff. There was just so much to do outside of just doing missions in that game, and in other games in the series, of course, that when you pick up the new game that is by Rockstar, everyone was just really disappointed because of there not being the extras that they came to expect. So the game is really solid in the doing what it does, which is you going around solving these crimes and kind of telling this overarching narrative that spans across several of the missions. But outside of it doing that, it doesn't really do anything else. So, like I said, I enjoy the game quite a lot. Hope you all enjoy me playing it. I will have a little caveat here in a second, but and speaking of me playing it, if you're watching this, I have already uploaded part 1. Yes, I have recorded a bunch of stuff beforehand to have in preparation for releasing this the Let's Play for once in my life. The first video will be all of the tutorial missions all told together, and it took about 45 minutes or so, I think. So I should provide a link in the video description and an annotation on the video. So if you just want to skip ahead and go watch it, go ahead and watch it. However, I want to complain for a second on a technical aspect of this game. The game was made for the consoles initially, and I believe it was the 360 version was ported to the PC. Well, the PC port is a horrible piece of garbage, and I'm not sure if the people who ported it had ever actually ported the game to the PC before they did this one. I didn't look it up. I didn't look up who did the port, but it was horrible. I mentioned it briefly in my the first video in the Let's Play, but I have a PC that can run and record Far Cry 4 and similar games of that nature at 60 frames per second on at least high settings. So when this game comes out and it's locked at 30 frames per second, first of all, which is horrible, but then it's locked at 30 frames per second, I can run games that came out just a year or two ago at 60 frames per second, and then this game is tanking down to 15 frames per second while I'm playing, recording or not. It doesn't matter if I'm recording or not, it just does that. It doesn't matter what graphic settings you use for it, it will tank down to that. And it is horrible. And believe it or not, there's a hack for the game to bump it up to 60 frames per second. But it runs so much worse. So much worse at 60 frames per second. I don't know why you'd want to do it. I had to mess with the game for hours and hours. Playing with application-specific video card settings, playing with specific... you can do command line options on the launcher for the game. Playing with specific command line launcher options to get it to run at 30 frames per second consistently, which is sad, because it's a 4-year-old game, and my PC is not weak. And if you go online and search for it, you'll find a ton of discussions about how horribly this game runs on PC. But I don't have anything that captures PS3, so here we are, guys. I got it working, although the first video will be a little bit choppy, a little bit laggy. Anyway, I'm done rambling about the game. That's really all I've got to say. I hope you all enjoy the Let's Play, and I hope I didn't seem too rusty doing this type of video. It's been quite a long time, and yeah. Anyway, see you next time.